this week we're looking at the Shema. We started a couple weeks ago with the Yotzer Or, that first little B before the big B of Bible, and then last week Ahava Rabbah, which teaches us about God's love for us as we prepare in the Shema to express our love for God. What's interesting about the Shema is that one wouldn't necessarily think that the Shema would be the verse, the tefillah, the prayer of the Jewish people. In fact, this week in our Parsha, in Parshat Yitro, we're reading the Aseret Dibrot, the Ten Commandments. So why aren't the Ten Commandments the central piece of text that we rely upon to express our love for God? Why is it the Shema? Well, there's no clear answer, but one suggestion is that if we focused entirely on the Ten Commandments, if the Aseret Dibrot, the 10 utterances that God made to Moshe at Mount Sinai, if those were the centerpiece of our Siddur, of our prayer book, then perhaps we would think that there are only 10 mitzvot. Perhaps we wouldn't think that there may be another 603 out there that we have to worry about. And so instead of focusing on the Aseret Dibrot, on the Ten Commandments, we have this other verse, the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, whose theological purpose is for us to acknowledge and express not only our love for God, but more importantly, God's sovereignty. When we say Adonai Echad, God is one, what we're really saying is Adonai Melech. God is ruler. God's in charge. That's one of the things that the Shema says, and that's one of its express purposes in a theological framework. But for those of us who don't think only in theological terms, there are 3 paragraphs of the Shema, each of which has an important theme which builds upon the others. So let's take a look at them. The first thing you might notice about the Shema in the 3 paragraphs is that they're out of order. They come from different places in the Torah. The first paragraph is from Deuteronomy chapter 5, the second from later on, Deuteronomy chapter 11, and then the third one is from Numbers chapter 15. They're completely out of order as far as chronologically how they're found in the Tanakh, in the Bible. But thematically, they make much more sense this way. And here's how the themes work. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Adonai, you are one. And then Ve'ahavta, we love you, God. We love you. And the way that we show our love for you is by talking about Torah. It's by learning Torah. It's by teaching Torah to our children, to ourselves, and to everyone that we meet at every moment of the day. So how do we love God? We keep mitzvot and we keep Torah. Now, you may say to yourself, okay, I can love God in other ways. Why bother? Well, that's where the second paragraph of the Shema comes in, to teach us that when we do follow these mitzvot, that there will be many, many rewards. But when we don't, well, then things may not go exactly as we would like them to go. The rains may not fall at the right time. We won't have good harvests. The second paragraph of the Shema reminds us that if we agree that God is ruler, in that first verse, Shema Yisrael, then we also have to accept that God is in charge, and that God, if we follow those commandments, will reward us, and if we don't, that God will punish us. And this, of course, is a difficult idea for many people, myself included. But it's right there in our Shema. We can't ignore it. We have to struggle with it. And then the third paragraph of the Shema comes along and reminds us to wear tzitzit, the fringes on the corners of our garments, to help us remember to teach and do all of these mitzvot, all of these commandments. So our Shema in those 3 paragraphs teaches us, first of all, how do we love God? We love God by doing Torah. We love God by teaching Torah, by living Torah, by incorporating Torah and mitzvot, commandments, into our lives. The second paragraph tells us or reminds us why we do that, because there are inherent rewards in doing such a thing. And finally, in the third paragraph, we're told how we can remember to live like this all of the time. It's not always easy to remember to live a life of Torah. There are so many distractions in the world. But if we say our Shema, we can remember not only how we do it, but why we do it, and how we can remember every day to make Torah and the Shema an important part of our lives. Next week, it's on to the little b after the Shema. Until next time, Lehitraot.